NFL Week 7 picks. Let's get started. So, for the Thursday night game, Kansas City versus Oakland. Now, Kansas City is clearly the better team here, but sometimes the better team, record-wise, sometimes doesn't win. And since it's in Oakland, I'm going to pick the Raiders on this one. Now, it's a little bit of an kind of an upset alert, but this is a must-win for the Raiders. They are 2-4, so that's definitely something to consider. I'm going with Oakland this one. Next one is Tennessee versus Cleveland. Since the other team, Tennessee, is facing Cleveland, Tennessee gets the victory here. Next one is Denver versus Los Angeles, the Chargers to be specific. And with the Denver Broncos, they are a very good team. I think they're a playoff team. However, I feel as if against lesser opponents, similar to the Giants and similar to the Chargers, I feel as if that they're actually going to lose this week because I feel as if the Broncos, they're going to try really hard against the good opponents in the league, but against the opponents that aren't so good, they're going to slack off a little bit. I'm going to give it to the Chargers in this one. Next one is Jacksonville versus Indianapolis. Now, Indianapolis has been a little bit better with Jacoby Brissett. They've achieved their expectations a little bit more. However, when you look at them as a whole, they're facing against Jacksonville, against Calais Campbell, who so far seems as if that he's been having a really good season. So if you put Campbell there, he's probably going to be sacking Jacoby Brissett a lot. The game might be somewhat close, but I got Jacksonville on this one. Next one is the NYJ versus Miami. Now, I just like to call the New York Jets the NYJ. I don't know why, I just do. But it's in Miami. It's hard to win in Sun Life Stadium at times, and the Jets are more of a northern team. They're going to be playing in a really hot and humid stadium. I'm going to have to give it to Miami right here, and Miami's coming off of a motivational victory against the Atlanta Falcons. And next one up, we got Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh. Now, obviously, Pittsburgh has been a little bit disappointing this season, but they just beat the Chiefs. And Cincinnati isn't as putrid as they were from week 1, but I still got to go with Pittsburgh with this one, and it is at Heinz Field, even though that really kind of doesn't matter with the Steelers, especially under Mike Tomlin, who I think is overrated. Click in the link in the description if you're interested in that video, but please, guys, the weekly picks still have to go on. And I got to go with Pittsburgh on that one. Next one is Tampa Bay versus Buffalo. Now, Tampa Bay has looked like a pretty good team so far, but I got to give it to Buffalo. Buffalo seems like a good team right now, a hot team. I think Sean McDermott was one of the more underrated head coaching hires recently, just because he seemed as if that he was kind of like a normal head coach to hire instead of some of these like gimmicks. I mean, Sean McVay, he's been working out, but it's pretty bold for the Rams owner to hire a 29-year-old to run a NFL football team. I mean, that's a lot right there. Or a 31-year-old, or however the hell, how old is Sean McVay. But McVay, let's just say he is a young gun right there. But overall, got to give it to Buffalo on this one. Next one is Baltimore versus Minnesota. Now, Baltimore endured early on the season. I wasn't a big fan of their defense. I mean, they went up against the Bengals, really, and that's not really that impressive. And then you got Minnesota, who has a good defense, which is probably going to eat up the Ravens' offense. And not only that, Minnesota's offense has been pretty comfortable. It's been pretty suitable for their team, and it looks like they can lead to a win to games. And since it's in Minnesota, I'm going to give it to Minnesota in this one. Atlanta versus New England. Now, this is the Sunday night game. Now, I had a hard time picking this game. Now, you have New England, who obviously they're not as nearly as good as what people say they were before the season started. And not only that, New England has been a better road team, including this season and last season, compared to a better home team. You're like, that's kind of surprising, especially when you have a stadium like Gillette when you're up there in New England. And it's in New England. It's a primetime game. I feel as if New England did invest into the offseason of trying to get players to counter to their big deficit in the Super Bowl, that 25-point deficit. Obviously, they came back, but the idea about signing Gilmore, Cooks, was getting more athletic right there, and I think that's something that they try to do. And ideally, Atlanta, I feel like they match up well against New England, but it's definitely going to be an interesting one. But I'm going to pick New England on this one. I am. I was kind of drawn with it, but I think New England is the team right here to win. Next one is Dallas versus San Francisco. Elliott is eligible to play, so I think Dallas is going to beat San Francisco like they did last year. I know it's in San Francisco, but I still got to give it to Dallas on this one. You're just looking at a team that's far more talented. I do like what Kyle Shanahan's doing, but I have to give it to Dallas on this one. Next one is Carolina versus Chicago. Now, I'm going to pick Carolina in this one. I feel as if that since it's in Chicago, and I know it's not an easy stadium to win at, but Carolina also beat New England in New England, which is not easy to do. And Carolina, I think, offensively will do pretty well against Chicago and all of that. I got Carolina winning that one. Next one, Seattle versus the New York Giants. The last time Seattle lost to the New York Giants, I can't even remember the last time that happened. So I got Seattle on that one. Pretty straightforward and all of that. So Seattle should go on to the season for a 4-2 record. Next one is New Orleans versus Green Bay. Now, Green Bay is an interesting, obviously, what happened with Aaron Rodgers and all that. And New Orleans no longer has as putrid as a defense as they once did. That's obviously, New England is the king of the putrid defense right now. But New Orleans defense is a little bit better. And not only that, when you look at the Saints, they actually have won, I think, all their road games this year, or have won the majority. They have won more road games than they have won home games, which seems odd because New Orleans seems like it's a team that is such a dominant as home, but when they go on the road, they're a completely different team. They're the complete opposite right now, and since their defense is better, I gotta go with New Orleans. And plus, Aaron Rodgers is injured. And yes, it is in Lambeau, but they don't got Rodgers, so that's going to be a big deal. Next one is Arizona versus the Rams. Now, when you looked at Arizona, how well Adrian Peterson fit in there, he had a 2-touchdown performance for around 130 yards. So I think if you put that in perspective, the Rams defense isn't that good. I know they have a stacked D-line, but I think Adrian Peterson can get to the second level on this team and do some damage right here. I got Arizona being the Rams right here. And plus, the Rams don't do very well at home. They do better on the road, surprisingly. So I'm going to pick Arizona on that one. So if you miss any of my picks, any of my weekly picks, you can look down the description. And not only look down the description, you could also look for the link of these things called playoff predictors. Obviously, one of my subscribers, Sean D., recommended me to do this, and that's the link I do, and I do all the picks for all of that. If you want to follow along, you can do that too. Click in the link in the description if you're interested. I also made a video on why Mike Tomlin is overrated, and then my last video was on why Zach Ertz is overrated. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.